You know that feeling when you check into a hotel room? It's new, unfamiliar, maybe a bit sterile.
Yeah, usually it's just fine. Mundane, even.
Right. You settle in, maybe notice a dripping tap or a weird smell, but you brush it off. Budget hotel quirks, you know?
Exactly.
Well, what if those little oddities? What if they weren't just quirks? What if they were, like, signals? Signals that you weren't really alone in that room.
That takes it to a whole different level.
Totally. And it could turn a simple overnight stay into something genuinely, well, unnerving. So today, we're going to explore this really unsettling account. It was shared with us by a listener, actually, based on a personal experience from a woman named Yui, or Khun Yui, to be polite, and Thai and her boyfriend.
Okay.
Our plan is to walk through every chilling detail of what they went through in this Bangkok hotel, and maybe try to uncover the truth behind it all.
Sounds intense.
It is. This isn't just a spooky story, you know? It's something that apparently really happened, and it might just make you think twice the next time you book a hotel. So, let's set the scene. This all happened back in 2014. Khun Yui, she's originally from Lopburi, had traveled to Bangkok.
Big city trip.
Yeah, for a friend's graduation ceremony. So she needed a place to stay for 2 nights, just a temporary base. She and her boyfriend picked a hotel near an area called Kaset-Nawamin. Wasn't fancy, you know, definitely not a luxury place.
Affordable, practical.
Exactly, affordable, and the location was key. It was near a 7-Eleven, a Big C supermarket, a local market, all the convenient stuff right there.
Makes sense. Looked totally normal on the surface.
Right. The hotel itself was an 8-story building, and it had this interesting design. 2 wings, A and B, facing each other across the space.
Okay, I can picture that.
They were given room 514, the 5th floor, building B. And it was a corner room, so you get out of the elevator, turn right, walk all the way down the hall.
Right to the very end.
Yep, room 514 on the right side. Their first impression when they walked into the room was just off, immediately.
How so?
The moment they stepped inside, they got hit with this really unusual, intense coldness.
Cold, like air conditioning cold.
That's the weird part. The AC was off, all the windows were shut tight. The room was just freezing, like the cold was coming from the walls or something.
That is strange.
And to make it even weirder, there was this smell, a strange, musty, damp fabric kind of smell.
So freezing cold, but also damp smelling. That doesn't quite add up.
Exactly. It was this weird contradictory feeling. Deeply cold, but also this persistent dampness in the air.
You know, that immediate intense cold, especially paired with a weird smell.
Right.
It's something you hear about a lot in these kinds of accounts.
Right, like a classic sign.
Yeah, some people call it a cold spot. Paranormal theories link it to, like an energy drain. An unseen presence drawing warmth. And the smell just adds another layer of wrongness. It definitely sets an unsettling stage.
Totally unsettling. So the room itself was fully furnished. Bed, TV, a dressing table, and a wardrobe.
Standard hotel stuff.
But the wardrobe was weird too. It was just a frame, no doors at all.
No doors, so anything inside was just out in the open.
Completely visible, yeah. Totally exposed. At the time, they just kind of dismissed it, figured, okay, budget hotel thing.
Right, you try to rationalize.
They hung up their clothes, maybe 6 or 7 items total, you know, outfits for the graduation and stuff. And that first night, nothing happened. Completely uneventful.
A bit of a relief, probably.
Yeah, they settled in, got some rest. Just a normal night in a slightly odd, cold, damp-smelling room. A little calm before the storm, I guess. Okay, so fast forward to the second day. They went out that morning, got some food, did the graduation ceremony stuff.
And a normal day out.
Yep. They got back to the room around 6 p.m., ready to relax after being out all day. And this is where things start getting properly weird.
There we go.
Khun Yui took off her jewelry, earrings, necklace, rings. She put them on top of the mini fridge, which was right next to the TV.
Makes sense. Convenient spot.
Then she went to chill out, watch some TV, and suddenly, out of nowhere, the jewelry just falls to the floor.
Falls, like slid off.
No, more like swept off. There was no wind, the fridge wasn't vibrating, nothing bumped it. It was just on the floor.
Yeah.
As if someone had just brushed it off.
Wow. Okay, that's definitely odd. Your first instinct would be to find a reason, though, right?
Oh, absolutely. You'd think maybe it was tilted, or did I knock it without realizing?
Right. The mind scrambles for logic. But it gets harder when things keep happening, especially when basic physics seems off. That's when skepticism starts to crack.
And they did try to rationalize. They kind of looked at each other like, that was weird, but still tried to brush it off, a one-off fluke.
Deniable. For now.
She picked up the jewelry, put it back on the fridge, tried to ignore it, but the room wasn't finished. Later on, they're getting ready for bed. Khun Yui puts her phone down on the dressing table, which was near the head of the bed. Pretty convenient. They settle down, and after just a little while, the phone falls to the floor too.
The phone as well? Same thing, no reason.
Same thing, by itself. No bump, no vibration, nothing. And that was the turning point. Seeing it happen again with the phone, the casual dismissal just vanished.
Okay, yeah. Twice is not a coincidence.
They looked at each other, and you could just see it click. Something genuinely strange was going on. This wasn't normal anymore. 2 things falling completely unexplained in just a few hours.
Yeah, that's undeniable. Creepy.
So at this point, Khun Yui's boyfriend, he kind of manned up, I guess, pushed past the fear.
Decided to confront it.
Yeah, he spoke out loud into the room. His voice was trying to be firm even though they were freaked out. He said something like, "Who's there? Anyone else in here besides us?"
Whoa, bold move.
And then he added, "If so, let's just coexist. Don't bother us. We just want to rest." Like trying to negotiate, you know?
Setting boundaries with the unknown. Risky.
And the response, it was immediate and terrifying.
Oh, no.
The second he finished speaking, they heard this distinct sound.
What kind of sound is that?
Like someone dragging a clothes hanger inside the open wardrobe.
The wardrobe with no doors, where they could see right.
Exactly. They both just froze, instantly terrified, eyes wide, staring at each other, just horror.
I can just imagine the silence after that sound. Chilling.
And then came the climax. Just a short while after that dragging sound.
What happened?
The clothes. The clothes they had hung inside that open wardrobe, those 6 or 7 pieces, they were violently thrown out of the wardrobe.
Thrown, not just fell.
No, thrown. Like someone grabbed the whole lot and just hurled them out onto the floor right in front of them. They saw it happen.
Oh my God. That's not subtle, that's direct interaction.
Panic. Pure panic set in. They were shocked, totally convinced they couldn't stay there another second.
I would be out of there so fast.
They started frantically stuffing their things into their bags, just grabbing stuff, moving as fast as they possibly could, desperate to get out. Every little sound probably made them jump.
Adrenaline must have been pumping like crazy.
But the room had one last scare waiting for them.
Seriously, more.
As they were rushing, nearly packed, the curtain on the balcony window, it had been closed the whole time.
Okay.
It suddenly flew open. Violently, like someone grabbed it and yanked it back with incredible force.
Bang, open.
Yeah. Imagine that final jump scare right when you're trying to make your escape.
That's just cruel. It's like it didn't want them to leave peacefully. That cumulative effect, you know. One thing after another, escalating. It just shatters any attempt to rationalize.
Exactly.
Bill.
No more denial possible.
Especially after directly addressing it and getting that kind of response.
Yeah.
The dragging sound, the clothes.
Yeah.
There's no explaining that away.
That was absolutely it for them. They couldn't take it anymore. They bolted from the room, didn't even wait for the elevator, probably just ran down to the lobby.
Hearts pounding, I bet.
Oh, totally. They stumbled into the lobby, out of breath, visibly shaken. Can you imagine what the staff thought?
Probably thought they were crazy or something.
They told the staff, who looked pretty bewildered, "We need to check out. Right now."
Even though they paid for 2 nights?
Yep. Still had another night left. The staff asked why, obviously, and Khun Yui's boyfriend just laid it all out, told them everything that happened.
Did the staff react?
He specifically asked them, "Has anything weird ever happened in that room? Or this hotel?"
Yeah.
Just flat denial, repeatedly. "No, nothing, ma'am. No, nothing." Blank faces. Khun Yui said she knew they wouldn't get anything out of them, so she just stopped asking.
Standard procedure, maybe? Don't admit to anything spooky?
Probably. So they immediately called a friend, explained the situation, and found another hotel sharpish.
Good move.
Yeah, the new place was totally fine, no issues, they finally got some sleep. But Khun Yui's boyfriend, he couldn't let it go. He was still really unsettled, needed answers. That terror they felt, he wanted to understand why.
Curiosity mixed with trauma, maybe.
Could be. So the next morning after the graduation, he actually went back towards the first hotel.
Bold. Did you try the staff again?
No. He knew that was a dead end. He was smarter this time.
So what did he do?
He went into a nearby local eatery. Looked like one of those old established places. The kind of spot where locals hang out, where the real neighborhood gossip happens.
Going for the local knowledge network. Smart.
He ordered some food, chatted a bit with the owner, an older lady, and then he just casually asked her, "Hey, has anything strange ever happened at that hotel over there?"
That's a really interesting approach.
Yeah.
Because official channels, like the hotel staff, they have reasons to keep quiet, right? liability, reputation.
Exactly.
But local memory, the stories passed around to the community, that often holds the stuff that doesn't make the official records. It's like tapping into the informal history of a place.
Yeah.
That's often where you find the raw truth.
And bam, he hit the jackpot. Or, well, the horror jackpot.
She knew something.
Oh, yeah. The owner didn't even hesitate. She confirmed it straight away. Said she remembered police being all over the hotel maybe 3 or 4 years before Khun Yui stayed there.
Police? What?
Because, the owner said, the word around the neighborhood was that a man had murdered a woman,
Oh, God.
hidden her body in a black bag, and stuffed it inside a wardrobe in one of the rooms.
Inside a wardrobe in that hotel?
Yes. And the man was eventually caught there at the hotel.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That changes everything.
The owner didn't know the exact room number, though. And she said she never saw any monks doing ceremonies or anything afterwards. No purification rites that she noticed.
That detail about no purification rituals, that's significant, especially in Thailand.
Why is that?
Well, in many cultures there, particularly after a violent death, performing specific rites is really important. It's believed to help the spirit move on or to cleanse the space, prevent lingering negative energy. If that didn't happen,
The energy could still be there.
that's the belief, yes. It could contribute to that heavy feeling or what Khun Yui experienced, a residual imprint.
And the owner added something else, too, another layer. During the hotel's construction, she said, 2 Burmese workers had died. Tragically. One died, and then another one just 3 or 4 days later.
So multiple deaths associated with the place even before the murder.
Right. A dark history from the ground up. And suddenly, for Khun Yui and her boyfriend, it all just slammed into place. Imagine that moment of horrifying clarity.
Everything would just click.
That intense coldness they felt, maybe linked to the presence, the energy drain. That weird, musty, damp fabric smell.
Oh God, the body,
Racked up.
possibly. And the wardrobe. The focus of all the intense activity, the dragging sound, the clothes being thrown out.
That was where the body was hidden?
Precisely. Every single terrifying thing they experienced suddenly made a horrible kind of sense. It wasn't random. It felt like echoes of that tragedy, directly linked to the place it happened. The puzzle pieces didn't just fit, they painted this complete grim picture of Room 514's past.
That realization must have been bone-chilling.
Absolutely. So when they got back home to Lopburi, Khun Yui told her younger brother the whole story.
Now, this brother, apparently, was known for being pretty fearless. Kind of enjoyed a challenge, like testing supernatural claims. The sort of person who hears ghost and thinks, let's go see.
Ah, one of those.
Yeah.
The investigator type.
Right, so Khun Yui, maybe partly to see if she was crazy, maybe just knowing her brother. She didn't give him all the gory details. She just said, hey, there's a ghost in room 514 at that hotel. Go check it out if you're brave enough.
Setting him up for an unbiased test almost.
Kind of, yeah. And what do you think he did?
He booked the room, didn't he?
Immediately went straight there and booked room 514.
Did anything happen to him?
He later confirmed it. He told Khun Yui he experienced a very similar pattern of weird stuff, things falling on their own.
Like the jewelry and the phone.
Exactly. And specifically, his clothes in that open wardrobe ended up all scattered and messy, like someone had rummaged through them.
Not thrown out, though.
No, not violently thrown like hers were, but definitely disturbed, messed with.
That's, wow. That independent confirmation is really compelling, isn't it?
It really is.
Because, okay, you could argue Khun Yui and her boyfriend were scared. Maybe suggestible after the first weird thing.
Yeah.
But the brother, he went in looking for it, almost daring it.
Yeah.
And he experienced a consistent pattern, too.
Right.
It makes it much harder to dismiss as just imagination or coincidence. It points towards something genuinely recurring in that specific space. Maybe what some researchers call a residual haunting, like an echo of past events imprinted on the location. The energy repeating itself.
It does feel like that. And just think about that core image again. You're lying in bed, you're looking at this wardrobe frame with no doors,
Yeah.
and suddenly you hear that dragging sound, crew it, and then you see the clothes inside get violently thrown out onto the floor.
Right in front of your eyes.
Can you imagine how terrifying that would be, that visual alone? It would
Yeah.
stick with you forever. It would definitely change how you feel about sleeping in hotels.
No kidding. Peaceful night's sleep.
Oh.
Gone.
So, what's the takeaway here for everyone listening? I mean, Khun Yui's experience, it's a pretty stark reminder, isn't it?
That places have histories we don't see.
Exactly. Unseen histories, heavy legacies, just lingering.
Yeah.
In the walls, in the air, and sometimes the most ordinary places, the ones we pick, just because they're cheap or convenient.
They can hold the darkest secrets, echoing tragedies long after the headlines fade.
It definitely makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It really does. It poses that question.
Yeah.
How much do we really know about the places we choose to stay? The beds we sleep in? What kind of hidden stories, what energies might be right there with us? It adds a whole new dimension to checking in somewhere.
For sure. Well, we hope this exploration into Khun Yui's really chilling experience has given you something unsettling to think about next time you're booking a room.
Definitely food for thought.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. If you found this look into a truly unsettling real-life account fascinating or maybe just terrifying.
Both, probably.
Yeah, probably both. Make sure you subscribe to The Deep Dive for more stories and insights like this. We'll see you next time.